What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday night. It's pretty late right now, and I just wanted to open up this video right now so I don't have to do the introduction tomorrow explaining what we're going to be doing, and I can get right into what we're going to do. Anyways, we have been super busy. We did some work on this 05 here. Put an oil pan on it, put some gauges on it, did trans service on it, and Bailey is doing a lift level kit deal on his truck real quick. He's got the coil spring loose. He actually had to go. He ordered a leveling kit for a 94 to 02 instead of the third gen one, but he had one for a third gen that was for a like a 2.5, I think. He didn't want a 2.5, so he took it over to his buddies that has a lathe or something. I don't really know. And they're gonna make it into a 1. I don't know, but he's on the way back right now, and he can get that put in because it's the weekend now, so we're not gonna be able to get a new one. But luckily he has the capability to do stuff like that and be able to actually just make like a, basically you wouldn't even be able to tell, I don't think, by the time he's done, that it is gonna be a 1-inch. But anyways, get all that out of the way. We got some gauges for the Shorty, guys. I've been talking, I'm kind of hinting towards we're gonna do a gauge install or a monitor. I didn't really know what to do, and the guys and girls over at Is Pro were willing to work with us and get us set up with a set of gauges for the Shorty. So huge shout out to them for helping out, and they're freaking awesome, really. Like, I didn't know that how far gauges have came. So let's go ahead and I'll get them all opened up here and I'll get them laid out on the table and we'll show you guys what we got. So basically Bailey just got here with his leveling pucks, and it looks like he cut them and then re-welded them back. Someone did. Re-welded them back to the, welded the plate back on them. Anyways, go ahead and get this stuff ready for you guys. So we got Is Pro gauges, guys. So let's go through the line here and see what we got. That is a 100 psi turbo boost, 100 psi fuel pressure, trans temp reads up to 280, and a pyro that reads 2000 degrees. Is Pro's been in the business for, I believe, quite a long time, and this is one of the higher end gauge companies that you can purchase gauges from. With that obviously comes a little bit more of a price, but you kind of get what you pay for, and these are extremely high quality gauge, and I'm really looking forward to running them on the truck. They also set us up with the sticker for the truck. Got us a sweet little magnetic koozie. This thing's strong too. Like, it'll hold, you can put a full soda pop in this and stick it on the side of a truck, because I've already been using the other one. I did open this stuff up to kind of look at it, and I have been using the other one. They give us a couple pins. Make sure you guys follow them on Facebook and their Instagram page. They're getting their Instagram page going, so go give them a follow. They also give us this Schnubber valve for the fuel pressure. It makes a gauge last a lot longer, so we'll put that in line for the fuel pressure gauge. And they also gave us a dimmer switch. A lot of you guys probably know how if you haven't put gauges on a truck and you're driving for hours at night, it blinds you. I mean, the gauges are so bright, and some of these gauges are so bright that they'll literally blind you, and it kind of makes it hard to focus on the road. And when you're just cruising and you're not beating it up, you really don't need to be monitoring that stuff like a hawk anyways. So I'm pretty sure that's what this is. I can actually wire this into a dimmer and just kind of turn those down, say I'm going on a long cruise. And this is probably the coolest part about this setup here, what they got us. This is an attribute programmer, guys. So what this does, each one of these gauges, I don't know if it's on the bottom, yeah, it's on the bottom there, has a little light in it. So it's basically a warning light. So what I'll do, any laptop with Windows, I believe is what you need. You'll take the gauge, and one end of the gauge will plug in on the back of it, or one end of the wiring harness will plug into the back of the gauge. The other end of the wiring harness you'll plug into your laptop, and you can plug that in, use this software. Say you want the light to come on at 1200 degrees, 1400, doesn't really matter, 50 pounds of boost. Too low, I believe you can go downwards too, so if it got below a certain fuel pressure. So I'm really excited to show you guys that. Hopefully I'm technically able to figure it out and get it set up, and we can do that tomorrow. And we could do, I mean, mainly like the trans temp and the pyro are the ones you're gonna want the warning light for, and then maybe like if it got below like 25 psi, we'll make a light for that, and maybe over like 50, I don't really know. Anyways, we'll get into that later on. Obviously we are going to need a way to mount these in the truck, and I'll be honest with you guys, obviously we went with a pod to start with for gauges. We did a 3-pillar pod. So the 3 gauges here mount, this goes over the pillar, covers them up. The 3 gauges go inside that. And it was driving me absolutely insane thinking about, so there was a couple different options I had. One of the options was doing the steering wheel column mount. It basically mounts on the column. I honestly think it would be cleaner than the way I'm gonna do it. It looks cooler, but I just really don't want that on my column in front of all my other gauges. And I just didn't want that. I'm sure you guys can understand. I just didn't want it. I wanted something a little different. I think it looks clean, it's super clean, but basically what I'm gonna do is I got this little monopod, and we're gonna just temporarily and see if we like it, and if not, we'll go to the steering wheel one. We're gonna put this, we're not gonna tear our dash up. We got some 3M tape we'll put on the bottom there. So it'll basically just be like this in the truck, the 3 pods, and then the individual one down there. I don't know. I just really think that would be more ideal. As far as driving around, I don't think it's going to take up any more space. And I just really didn't want the pod one. So I'm sure you guys will understand. Worst case scenario, I don't like it, I'll just move it. I'll probably put like the fuel pressure or something. Dude, that's a nasty bug. That thing is nasty looking. But I'm sure you guys understand where I'm coming from. So yeah, make sure you guys go check out ISPro gauges. I'm going to go ahead and mention it now, but before we get into the install, ISPro is going to be giving a discount if you guys would like to purchase gauges. They don't really have a promo code set up or anything, but just contact them directly, give them a phone call, tell them Dirty Diamond Diesel sent you, and I believe they'll give you 10% off. I think it's 10%. Yeah, it's 10% off any package you want to do. If you want to buy an individual gauge, doesn't matter. It's 10% off, to my knowledge, I believe. Okay, so I did just verify it is 10% off, guys. So gauges are, to be honest, they can be kind of expensive if you have to buy a bunch of them, but you get what you pay for. And these are really, really nice. All right, guys, it is now the next day. We're heading over to Bailey's. We're gonna go ahead and put the gauges on over at his house, just because I haven't been over there and tore his garage up very much lately. So I need to go over there and make a mess and leave all the tools out. But anyways, let's see where we're at. I need to grab my keys here. See what we're gonna get fuel mileage wise out of this thing. Okay, 342 miles on this tank. We're already at 20 gallons, so wait for it to fill all the way up and we'll calculate it real quick. 21.4. So 21.4 divided by, I already forgot what it was again. 342. Let me do the math real quick. So roughly this truck is getting about 15 to 16 miles to the gallon, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed. I'm one of those people that never ever remembers to do that and actually calculate it, but this time I actually did. I calculated it, so we're getting about 15, 16 miles a gallon out of this thing. We'd probably get much better if we were sensible when we drove it, but we do like to get on it because it makes cool noises and goes fast. So that's probably most of the reason why the fuel mileage isn't up towards the 20s, but the red truck we are getting like right at 20 miles to the gallon, so that's awesome. But I'm gonna run here to the gas station, grab a couple things to drink, and I'll meet you guys over at Bailey's. Okay guys, we made it over here to Bailey's house, and before we even start the installation, I do want to go ahead and program all the gauges so that way I can set my indicator lights on them. As we talked about before, each one of them has a little light in the bottom, and it will light up at a certain temperature if you would like, so that way it's kind of like a little warning. But the attribute programmer comes with this little flash drive here, so plug that into the laptop and pulled up this file. So I'm going to read through all this stuff, see if I can figure it out. Now it's installing the driver, and once it gets installed, I think we can plug a gauge in. Guys, so we got the software here downloaded. Basically you just go through all the settings and you'll just pick what gauge it is, set what the dimmer you want to be at. I mean, there's really a lot of settings here. There's a delay you can set, and then you can set the transmit, like the degrees, you know, basically what you want everything to be at, when you want your light to come on. But I don't really know what anything is on the truck, so for now, basically like just the one end here plugs into the gauge, and then this end plugs in to the computer, and then you just punch all your info in. But I don't really know what anything is right now. I don't want to set all this stuff and then have to take them all right back out and reset them all. So we're gonna stick everything on the truck, and we'll come back at a later date and we'll mess with this some more. So we're gonna go ahead and start running some wiring. We went home and we had to grab a couple fuel pressure tees and splices. So this is how we're gonna read fuel pressure. And we're also gonna read trans temperature this way. We're gonna put the trans temperature gauge in line. You can see the piece Bailey has in his hand. We have a little adapter piece. Or no, that's for the probe. I don't know where that piece is. This little probe here, that's gonna be the best place to read the transmission temperature, is in the line itself, so you can see what the transmission is actually putting out. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this installation, starting with drilling and tapping the manifold. We gotta drill and tap the manifold. We need to drill and tap a spot on the intake elbow. We need to run all our wiring to it. Another nice thing that ISPRO does, so that way you can really do a clean installation, is they want you to basically pin the connectors yourself, so that won't be that big of a deal. But basically we'll have to pin the connectors, and what that allows you to do is stick these wires through those small holes in your firewall without having to drill big holes. Otherwise you'd be trying to stick a big connector like this through it. You don't want to do that. So we're going to dive right into this. We're going to start running wiring, drilling and tapping holes first probably, and yeah, pick up with you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, all of the sending units are ran underneath the hood. Everything's zip tied up real good. And starting to work on the wiring inside of the truck. It's kind of a mess. I'll be honest with you guys, this is one of the more involved gauge installs for the average person, but it's worth it in the end because you get a really clean installation. But basically, you have to basically go and pin these. You have to, it's so that way you can run the wires through really tight spaces, and then you put the pins on yourself when we're done. And it gives you a diagram on every one, how to do them. Right here, it shows you how to use the tool. It's very informative. I will say that ISPRO is probably aware that this is a little involved, and the instructions are very well and show you how to do this. So definitely don't be scared to do it. But we got to just basically pin all these out, and then we're going to figure out where we want to put each gauge, kind of trim the wiring to spec. And I also do want to throw in that we are not going to be using the dimmer switch that they threw in. I'm actually going to contact the sales. I'm actually going to contact them and let them know I'll send this back, but I just really don't want to use this. This would require me to run a significant large amount of wires. I don't really want to. On a newer truck, you may not have the option to be able to tap in on your dimmer, but on this truck, it's an older truck, right here's my dimmer. So I'll simply just, we already located the fuse inside there that dims up and down, and I'll just run my dimmer lights to those, and then that'll make the gauge, I can adjust the brightness. So I'm gonna, like I said, contact them, let them know I will send this back to them, and if they want it, and we're just not gonna install that. But basically, all it is just a potentiometer. It goes to 12 volt power, ground, And then you can basically control how bright the gauges would be, say in a newer truck that doesn't have a dimmer switch like that. So really nice piece there, but we just are not going to be using it in this application. So guys, I do want to go ahead and throw in how to do this real quick, how to pin these out, just because I feel like it'll help someone out, because I had to look at it for a minute. And so basically what you're going to do, your gauge is going to come with your wiring. Your red's your 12-volt power, your orange is your dimmer, your black's your ground. And these are our fuel pressure wires right here, these three that come through the dash. These are our fuel pressure. So we have our diagram here for the fuel pressure. I believe this is the right one, fuel pressure, yeah. So right here it's going to show us the pins 1 through 6, which order these need to go in. So I'm going to take my pin right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to take your black tool, the end that's closed off is number 6. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through this black pin. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay these out in order how they go. So I've got red, orange, black. Red, orange, and black. Then we have our sensor wires that come through, and they go red with yellow tracer, green, black. So we've got red with yellow tracer, green, and black. So that right there is how they're going to go together. You need to take another hand to make sure you put the pin in the right way. One starting at the top for the red. This is for the fuel pressure. All these are going to change depending on what gauge you're doing. So you need to make sure you're reading your schematic sheet and you actually see. So we'll go ahead and line this up in here. Just make sure, the main thing here is going to be to make sure you have everything lined up. You're not pinching any wires on each other. Now you can kind of lay them all out so that way they're straight. Okay, now I have not found myself able to do all 6 of them at one time. I was able to do 3 of them, push them all in. So what I've been doing is grabbing these channel locks and just be very careful that you have them all lined up. Kind of pinch the first couple ones, work your way to the middle, and then I kind of flip it over. It's really hard to do this by hand. It's possible, but I would just use some channel locks. You're not going to break this connector as long as you don't like put anything in wrong. There you guys can see I had to stop for a second and kind of fight with it off camera, but I got it all pinched all the way in. You can see it's sunk all the way against the black plastic. Pull this off and you can see the silver tabs on the top. It's completely pierced through. So what I've been doing is just going through whenever I'm done, kind of pull these away from each other so they don't touch. I mean, it should be good, but trim all those real short. Verify none of them are going to touch. I kind of pull them away from each other, make sure they're straight with a pick. And then you put your plastic cap on to finish it up. And that's it. So we have all of our connectors pressed on for our gauges now. So the next step that we need to do is kind of get the pods in here, get everything to the correct length. Well, next, actually I lied. So the next step, we actually need to get all these tied together. Tie all of these for each and individual gauge together. They're not going to pull a lot of amps, so I'm going to run them both to just like one 10 amp circuit. And then they can all share ground. I'll probably use a fuse tap. You can see I already have fuse taps in there in my fuse box. I'll use one of those just for safety precaution. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead, get all these tied together, get our pods in here, and we'll finish this install up. Gauge is all wrapped up. It took quite a while to get this job done. Everything went really smooth until I tried to start putting all the pods in, and I cut some of the wires too short, and I had a lot of trouble getting all the wires tucked behind this, and you can actually still see the wires from the front. and it's driving me nuts. Obviously, I ran those wires through right there. Probably gonna ditch the monopod. Didn't really work how I wanted it to, but you can see like in that crack there from the front, it's pretty bad. It's driving me nuts really, but we're running out of time for tonight. Did get them in, did get them working, and they do all work. You can see them on the dimmer there. Looking pretty sick. Got about 50 PSI on the air dog. Pyro's hooked up, so we are ready to rock. But yeah, I'll give you guys one last look at everything. Got her all cleaned up in here. And I'm gonna try this for a while. I may leave it. I may end up just ordering the one for the steering column. I just really wanted to try to keep it just a little different, and everyone does the steering column, so maybe get some Velcro for that. The 3M's is not really working out. I'm gonna try not to move it anymore, but that's how she looks. And like I said, guys, just from the front, you can see through the little sliver. Ooh, I saw a little piece in there, I thought. The little sliver in the front. Oh, it's really painful to look at. We got everything ran up here. We did adjust the little snubber valve a little bit. Basically just shut it and then opened it until it would read fuel pressure. Got everything routed real nicely, zip tied out of the way. There's our boost gauge, EGT, and then I should have got you guys a clip while we were under the truck of the trans. So that wraps up the gauge installation. They are completely in. Just might have to possibly move that the fuel pressure gauge down to the steering column. All right, guys, it's now the next day, and we are going to the bank and got to run a couple errands, but we got the gauges all installed last night, so I'll just go ahead and show you guys kind of how all of them look in the truck driving. I'm pretty happy with the layout and everything. I did actually turn the pressure up on my air dog to 55 PSI, and I did notice that the P-pump is it's a lot more responsive. The throttle's a lot stiffer, but I'll get down here and make a turn, and we'll see what kind of boost it'll build. Last night I was getting it to build around 30, so we'll kind of see what we can build, and then we have a little something else we're going to put on maybe tomorrow, or maybe later on today we'll make a video about it. So yeah, show you guys. Coming up around this turn here, I got a horrible belt squeak. I can't seem to figure out what it is. I put a couple different belts on it, but we'll get around this turn here. Looks like our EGTs are getting up around 1500. I couldn't really tell trying to record, drive, and you know, look at everything at the same time. That is going to wrap up this video for now. Be sure to like and subscribe. Huge shout out to Ispro Gauges again for helping us out and getting us some gauges for the Shorty. So go ahead and go over there, show them some love, tell them Dirty Diamond Diesel sent you, and you can get 10% off all of your orders. So that's a really good deal, because whenever you're buying a lot of gauges, the numbers can add up. So go over there and tell them that you saw the video on Dirty Diamond Diesel and get you some gauges for your truck so you can monitor what's going on. That is going to wrap it up. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.